Hello, hello, Facebook family. Facebook Live, episode 80, The Importance of Awareness. Hello, hello. It's good to see you guys on already. Please post who you are. Hey, Ann, it's good to see you. Chardell Carr, who is that? That's my wife. Okay. Great. Good to see you on there. See Kai on there, and I know Kai ain't on there. He's probably running around the house. J. Michael probably paying attention a little bit. My parents are on. It's great to see everybody on. I'm in the beautiful city of Victoria, Texas, out here for a little while, and actually enjoying my stay. Like I say, this job is very challenging, but it is fun. So welcome to Facebook Live, and officially our first time broadcasting at the same time on YouTube. So for us, this is a major technological advancement, especially for me. It's like a miracle. I put it right up there with the Red Sea being parted. We have made great strides. So it's good to see you on. Stephanie's on. The today we're talking about the importance of awareness. And I feel like I'm redundant, but hey, I am super excited about this one. Tamika's on. That's Alec Williams for you guys. She's fancy now that she's retired. She goes by Alec instead of Tamika. But it's good to see you guys on. So I want to start off with the housekeeping. I'm Curtis Carr. I'm the founder of Elevate. Me and my wife are the leaders of this company. We do consulting. We do coaching. And the main thing is to help you get to that place you want to be. And it's funny because we're talking about the importance of awareness, and I'll be hitting on Elevate a little bit later on. But it's the goal is is to help people understand people better, help people lead teams better. There's skills that you need, and with those skills, it'll empower you to get better results and get those results quicker. So I've been doing this for about 30 years, and then Shar has been a business analyst and project management for about 10 years now, I believe. And she also owns her own company called Cupcake and a Smile, right? So most of you guys know this already. This is really for the recording and the people that are catching us on YouTube. So we are a business, and Elevate is the acronym, and Elevate stands for expectations, leadership, ethics, vision, attitude, temperaments, and effectiveness. So if you were to get the seminar, you would get those. But of course, we do special subjects, anything that deals with people and leadership. And like today, we're talking about the importance of awareness. And it's just a snippet. I mean, we can actually go 10 times deep in this, but we're going to keep it simple today. So hello again to everybody. We're going to forego the jokes just because we need a little time today. I know you guys are disappointed. I apologize in advance. I know my wife is really disappointed because she really looks forward to those jokes. So one thing I wanted to share is I wanted to give a shout out. Before I give the shout out, I haven't done this in a while. Before I give the shout out, please, if you can just say one word that describes how you're feeling today. One word that describes how you are feeling today. And I will start off. I'm feeling aggressive, man. I'm in one of those moods that I feel like, hey, let's do this. Let's go. Feeling real aggressive. That's like Aunt Stephanie said, exhausted. So she's like the opposite of where I am right now. So Aunt Stephanie's feeling exhausted. Alex, Alex just did the half marathon. Did y'all do the half marathon, Tamika, or was it the whole marathon? Ann is saying overwhelmed. I told Tamika, I said, man, you can have that. I am not walking 13 miles. Shoot, my wife has to trick me to walk around the block. I'm not going 13 miles. So Ann saying overwhelmed, Tamika saying sore, my parents saying tired from too much exercise. So Shar, waiting for Shar. Shar should say something here. She's probably what she calls multitasking. It was a half marathon, 13.1 miles. We walked in, ran. I tell you what, if I walk 13 miles and it's actually 13.1, I'm actually going to say 13.12. I'm going to say that same thing. Repeat on the elevator. No, I just said one word, Shar. So Shar is dropping off the cupcakes tonight at the downtown location. So I'm just saying one word to describe how you're feeling today. One word. If you have one word. If I had a second word, it would definitely be challenged. Man, one day I'm sure I'm going to share on another Elevate Facebook Live some of the things that happen in my world, but it's just a movie has not been written. Man, just crazy stuff happens, man. Crazy stuff happens. So hopefully Shar will chime in, but definitely excited to have you guys on tonight. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is I wanted to give a shout out. And, these shout outs, okay, Shar said it's no longer hurts for me to sneeze, so recovering. So, Shar's still recovering. I think this is the only time I've ever seen her walk slow, So a piece of something has to be taken out of her body for her to walk slow. This is the first time I've seen her walk slow. So I think we're about 3 weeks in now. She'll be back to her normal self. It's funny because the mouth didn't stop, though. I mean, I think the mouth stopped for one day because, Char likes to talk. So she's a talker no matter what. I think after one day, she was back to talking normal. That first day, it was weird to see her laying up in that bed, quiet, to be honest. Hey, Mother Brenda, good to see you all. And so anyway, she'll get on me about that later on, but she got to wait. But so I want to give a shout out. And this shout out is really for the new richest man in the world. I'm sure many of you guys have heard about it. The new richest man in the world is no longer Elon Musk. It's no longer, it escapes my name, Amazon, Jeff Bezos. The new richest man in the world is Bernard Arnault. Bernard Arnault, the new richest man. Hey, Shay, it's good to see you on. So the new richest man, he's always been top 5 for a long time now. But when you hear about companies like Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, or Hennessy, I know Hennessy, especially in the Black community, that's a big time label. So he owns, he's the CEO of those companies, and he's now the new richest man in the world, or person in the world, I should say. So I want to give a shout out to him. A very unassuming type of person. Hey, Mr. Roundtree, it's great to see you. Great to see you on. So it's always any type of progress and, or any type of anything that's just notable. I like to give shout outs, especially when people are kind of behind the scenes, because I think if you would have went to anybody and asked them who are the top 5 richest people in the world, I don't think anybody would have even thought of Bernard Arnault, but he has been that for a while. This is nothing new. So you can just imagine Louis Vuitton been around for a while. Christian Dior been around for a while. Hennessy been around for my whole life. I know pretty much. I mean, so there's these things are staples in the culture. So I wanted to give a shout out to him. So this one here, the importance of awareness. I mean, man, this is a huge one for me. Just trying to get into it. Has anybody experienced how, and I know all you guys are going to say yes. So if you can give me a snippet of an example of how you felt when you first became aware of something. And we got all adults here, so I don't think anybody's going to do anything X-rated. But the first time you became aware of something, how you felt. If you want to chime in and let us know situation. I remember the first time I became aware that being an assistant, even if it's the lead assistant, is miles away from being the person that runs the show. I remember like yesterday, because in my mind, I was like, man, I'm the assistant. That guy's gone all the time. I can do this. Man, this is we don't even need him. We don't even need him. I run this thing anyway, right? Man, next thing I know, I'm calling my mama. Like, Mom, I can't breathe. She's like, breathe, boy. And I was so stressed out. My heart was racing, but just the stress. Hey, Sean, good to see you. So I just remember being aware of the fact that, man, even though one is like this high and the other one's this high on paper, is a big difference between the responsibility level, the stress level, what you have to do between being the head guy and the assistant. So That's one for me. If anybody want to share one where they just became aware the first time they became aware of anything and how they felt, and if they want to chime in, and I know that can be a loaded gun. Something, I mean, that might be hard to type. Um, oh, look at Shar. Oh, look at her. She was wide eyes and bushy tails when oh my goodness, I don't want my battery to go out. She was wide eyed and bushy tailed when she met me. So I appreciate that. Me too, Shar. I'm just wide eyed and bushy tailed when I met you. I'm gonna plug up this thing so we don't have a problem. Let's see here. Give me 1 second. There we go. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. So all my little routines are off a little bit, but um, so basically, let's see. Aunt Linda's on. Hello, Aunt Linda. It's good to see you. Uh, uh, Aunt Stephanie said, "Oh my God, too much for the podcast." So anyway, that's my story about when I first became aware. And then I have, story after story about things that I became aware of, and it just rocked my world when I became aware. So the importance of awareness is today. And one of the things I want to share with you is that most people have no idea of how important awareness is. Most people, and I'm convinced. I mean, I can literally say I've worked with thousands of people, and I'm not exaggerating. I've worked with thousands of people, and I can tell you, and just talking to other leaders out there, that most people have no idea how important awareness is. No matter how important you think it is, I believe that we will still extremely underestimate in our mind the importance of it because it's just simple, right? But awareness is so critical. Awareness is so huge. Even after this broadcast, most people still will understand probably less than 5% of the importance of awareness. We can talk about it, but I really believe it's just one of those things that we don't get. When situations come, we never tie it back to awareness, right? Um, uh, I would say you only appreciate and understand perhaps less than 5% will appreciate the importance of awareness and how it plays in your life, your fulfillment levels, your understanding of reality, and your ability to be successful. So in all those little areas, it starts off with awareness. My main goal tonight is really just to stress the importance of awareness. If I was to do a part 2, I would entitle it "How to Be More Aware." But tonight, the whole goal is just to stress the importance of awareness. So how do we define awareness? Glad you asked. Awareness, the ability to perceive, to feel, or to be conscious of events, of objects, thoughts, emotions, or sensory patterns. That's awareness, right? The ability to perceive, to feel, or to be conscious of events, objects, thoughts, emotions, or sensory patterns. So it's simple, but it's profound, right? And I know I thought of this just because this is February 22nd, and I guess I'm not the best at saying things on Facebook Live that I probably should have. I'm a Black guy, and I didn't say anything about Black History Month, but I was inspired to say this because of Black History Month. Malcolm X was asked about Martin Luther King and his movement, and this, of course, this is history, right? Malcolm X died in '65, so. And Malcolm was asked. They asked him about Martin Luther King Jr. and his movement. And his quote was, "The greatest mistake of the movement has been trying to organize a sleeping people around Pacific goals. You have to wake them up first. Then you will get action." And, I'm just, and I don't know if it's the nerd in me or what, but I mean, that is a profound statement. They asked him what Malcolm thought about Martin Luther King. And he said, the greatest mistake of the movement has been trying to organize a sleeping people or unaware people around Pacific goals. You have to wake them up first, then you will get action. And my thoughts were, and I know this is a long way from the importance or the impact or of the civil rights movement, but my thoughts were, that's what I do every day. I work with people, and I have to wake them up all the time. I have to wake them up. I have to shape their perspective. I have to see where their heart is. Sometimes some people are moving great, and then sometimes they fall off the map. So I'm waking people up all the time. So my thought was, man, awareness is key, and how to stay aware. That's a whole nother subject. But at the end of the day, I thought that was a great quote from Malcolm about how important it is. If you want to lead anything, first the people have to be aware, right? Give me some feedback on that quote. If you heard it before, please share. If you don't like it, if it's a loose tie-in, if you're like, man, that's a stretch, Curtis. Malcolm X and the importance of awareness in 2023. I guess it could be a stretch, but to me, it was a direct connection to me. It was a direct connection as far as the way life is and dealing with people. You have to wake them up. So what I want to spend the rest of the time talking about, and we're 7:16, we always call this the fastest 30 minutes in social media. What I want to spend the next 30 minutes on is why awareness is important, why it is important. So are you guys with me? Are y'all getting anything out of this? Am I boring you to death? That's my biggest fear, because I realize that the things that excite me don't always excite everybody else. I learned that in my house. So I learned that most. I go around saying this stuff and they look at me like, okay. So if you get anything out of it, please put something down. I know I'm definitely going to put a 1 down. If you don't get anything out of it, please put a 2. But please, I just want to make sure, Mr. Roundtree, appreciate it. Put a yes down. So the thing that I'm going forward on here is, why is awareness important? And the first thing I want to share is it gives you a competitive edge. Man, if you're aware, you have a competitive edge. You have a competitive edge. You really do. And what I mean by that, I'm going to use Elevate. So let's just say you knew all the stuff. And I'm talking about where you got to the point of internalization. So if you were on our last broadcast, you will know that internalization is when the information is you and you are the information. You'll know that we talked about baptizo, the word, where it's a word dealing with cloth. And it talks about when you dye a cloth, the dye is in the cloth and the cloth is in the dye. Let's just say you were that person that knew all the stuff we talk about in Elevate. And, we're talking about from the growth formula, expectations, accountability, patience cubed, accountability squared. We're talking about when it comes to how to give simple, effective feedback, where we had the video where the lady was talking about how to actually give feedback in an effective way, or understanding the temperaments, how you have pushers, perfectionists, you have people persons, and you have peacekeepers, and knowing how to communicate to all those different types of people and how to interact with them in groups and teams. Or if you knew how to understand and create healthy and dynamic cultures. And we have tons of information, tons of information on how to hit other areas too. But let's just say on those 3 or 4 or 5, man, just think about what kind of competitive edge you would have in the workforce. I walk in it, so I know it gives a competitive edge. I have no business being in the position I'm in. I've shared with you guys before, I am an area vice president for an automotive retailer. I didn't grow up in cars. My dad probably thought it was a joke when I started working for the company I'm working for. He's like, what are you doing? But the advantage I have is that no matter what we're doing in the company I work for, at the bottom line is people doing it. And that's where I've learned a lot, is in the people area. So that competitive edge, I walk in it every day, because that's where one day I'm gonna figure this out, that I have a competitive advantage. The second thing is it gives you a choice. When you are aware of something, you have a choice. So one of the things I want to share about that is, can you guys, by a show of hands, or we gotta say hands like I'm on a Teams call, I can't see you guys, but if you guys can put a 1, who has heard of diminished value? Diminished value when it comes to cars. When it comes to cars and insurance, has anybody heard of diminished value? And I'll wait a second so I can turn this ringer off and hopefully get it. Tamika said, yeah. Shar, I know you know, Shar. Ann said, yeah. So maybe I was the only one that didn't know. But diminished value, Charlie, you think? So, Aunt Linda, so I didn't know that when somebody hits you, right, and it's not your fault, and you file a claim, and that person has life insurance, I'm sorry, auto insurance, that they hit you and they have auto insurance, you can get your car fixed through their insurance, but afterwards, you can file another claim for diminished value because your value of your vehicle has dropped, right? It's no longer worth the same amount as it was before the hit. And the insurance company has to cut you a second check for the diminished value. So I didn't know that. A friend of mine told me. And before she made me aware of diminished value, I had no choices. I was going to take my vehicle and be happy that it still looked pretty good. But once she made me aware of diminished value, now I have a choice. So now I'm up here Googling and I'm looking, okay, how can I get this? What can I do? And I went and talked to the person. It took like 2 minutes. I called and said, hey, I just want to file the diminished value claim. He says, it don't look like it was major damage. I'll cut you a check for $1,000. I was like, $1,000? What? So then I tried to play calm and cool. Well, you know what? You give me $1,500, I'll be satisfied. So he cut me a check for $1,500. 2 days, 2.5 days, I had my check. But if I wasn't aware, I wouldn't have had that check. So awareness gives you a choice, right? Number 3, it is the first step of a creator. Oh yeah, my dad said total. Okay, I got you. It is the first step of a creator, and that's awareness, man. And that right there, that can be a Facebook Live. The first step of a creator is awareness. Now, when I think of this, I really think about these 2 guys that went to Stanford and they were studying to get their PhD in computer science. These guys did a project, and I think they called it Back Rub. It was called Back Rub. But they were a little naive, and they were thinking about things that can make the world a better place. And one guy's name was Larry Page. The other guy's name was Sergey Brin. And they were like, you know what? We can create this company that'll make information more accessible to everybody. And it won't be hard. They just be able to punch in something in this search engine and bam, and that's how Backrub was born. And then Backrub eventually changed its name because they were thinking about, there's the awesomeness of the information that they had and how much information it was. And they said, man, this is not infinity, but it's a lot. So they used this mathematical term called Google. And Google is a mathematical term for 1 with 100 zeros behind it. And that's where they came up with the name Google for their company. So when I think of the first step of creator, we can use anybody that's created anything, but it started first with awareness. So I think it's one of those simple things in life that we just take for granted, the importance of awareness, right? 7:23, and I'm actually making good time. I'm kind of nervous because I didn't know how much this information I can get out. I took the jokes out. I could have had time for the jokes. The 4th point, and the 4th and final point, is it can make things that appear to be complex simple. When you're aware of something, things that were complex in your life can be easily made simple just because now you're aware, right? And I guess the example I think of on this one is I think of the drama triangle that we talked about before. I think of the empowerment dynamic. And man, this revolutionized my whole perspective. I have one regret though, and I know you're not supposed to have regrets. My one regret was I learned it when I'm 50 years old. I'm like, man, if I would have had this when I was like 8, maybe 11, 12, 15, it would have changed the whole trajectory of my life. So, I'm like, man, so the power dynamic is simple. The dreaded triangle is simple. The dreaded triangle says, you know what? People get into drama because somebody's acting like a victim. And that victim has 2 other people in their near vicinity. And one is a persecutor. That's the person they're blaming. And then another one is a rescuer. So it says, hey, don't ever be any of the 3. If you would have told me before I learned, I would have thought, it's okay to be the rescuer. No, it's not okay to be the rescuer. You should not ever rescue people. So I was like, wow, and it started making sense. It was explained to me and all this stuff, and it just blew my mind because I was a rescuer type. You had a problem, you were sleeping on my couch. If you had a problem, I would let you borrow my car. If you had a problem, I would let you help you. I had somebody stay in my house for 8-9 months just recently. So I'm saying I was a rescuer. But when you rescue people, we have a nice term for it now, enabling. So when you're a rescuer, you're enabling people. When you're a rescuer, there's something in here that ain't right. And you have to solve that because it's something in here you're trying to get right. And that's why you're rescuing people. You get something out of it. So after I got burned this last time, rescuing is a cuss word in my mind, right up there with the B word, the A word, the F word, the S word. I mean, I don't rescue anybody, but what I will do is I switched over to the empowerment dynamic. And the empowerment dynamic is the same triangle, but at the top, you have a creator. So what's the opposite of a victim? Is a creator. And then with that creator, they surround themselves with a challenger. And that's somebody that's going to push them. Somebody that's going to be real raw with them, but they're going to push them and challenge them, kind of like a big brother or a big sister. And then they have a coach. And the coach is more like a parental figure. And they have a different perspective, and they're not right up on it. They have a different perspective. So now I view life like that. When I hear people talk, I'm thinking victim, oh, creator, oh, victim, oh, creator, victim. That's how I hear life now, because I see it, right? So when people come to me in certain situations, I sit back and I said, man, you're being a rescuer, man. And they don't realize yet how bad it is to be a rescuer. So when I think of how awareness can make complex things simple, I think of the drama triangle and the empowerment dynamic. So today, I know we touched on a couple topics. Remember, these are all supposed to be kind of a tease. We don't get deep in it. We only spend it 30 minutes. But when we do seminars out there, these are the kind of things we talk about. We can actually walk people through things. We put stuff on boards. We walk people, and like one guy said, and I can't remember his name right now, but my dad, he knows who he is. It's a French general, and he'll probably think it's crazy that I can't remember his name. But a French general, I'm sure you can type this on because it's the most famous French general, short guy, one of the greatest leaders of all time. He says the job of a leader is to shape perspectives and to give hope. And that's what we do when we go into the seminars. That's what we do when we do one-on-one coaching. We find ways to shape perspectives and to give hope. So I really appreciate you guys coming on, especially my wife, when she's got 3 jobs. She got the 2 boys. Well, actually, one's grown. He's helping her. And the other was 12. And then she's also Napoleon. Thank you. So that was his saying. Napoleon said the job of a leader is to shape perspectives and gives hope. And to me, that's just awesome. That's the best, because everybody asks how it's defined, but nobody just said, hey, this is the job. This is the job. We always think about the definition, but what is the job? To change perspectives and to give hope. So thank you, Ann. I really appreciate it. I always finish these and I'm always questioning myself because, this stuff is awesome. Awareness, let's think about this, man. If you have awareness, you have a competitive edge. It gives you choice. It's the first step to being a creator, and it can make complex things seem simple if you have awareness. I appreciate it, guys. You guys have a good one. If you ever want to reach out, most of you guys have my number, or you can go to the website. Those that don't know me personally, you can go to the website and reach out, info@wemustelevate.com. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I realize you have a lot of time. And Mr. Roundtree, appreciate that. Really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate that. So you guys have a great one, and enjoy the night. Good night.